Please do it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. A very warm good evening to all the wonderful people and the dignitaries present here in this platform. I, Shucharita Bhattacharya, on behalf of our Barasat College and Department of Commerce, welcome you all in our today's webinar. Now we are in a situation where the traditional seminar has turned into webinar, and we are overwhelmed with your response in our previous seminar, and that inspire us present now. Please avoid that button with another session devices. That is today's webinar. Our today's discussion is on sustainable business opportunities and resilience of post-pandemic era. Today, we will start our session with a positive note that very soon we will come out of this crisis and going to enter in a new period. And in our today's discussion with the current situation, we will discuss about the future post-pandemic situation too. Our esteemed speakers will now I would like to invite our administrator madam joint DPI Dr. Aparna Chakraborty to officially inaugurate the session. Madam, please do the honor. Over to you.
Good evening, Principal Dr. Dashgupta and our two very eminent speakers that we have here today, all participants, teachers and non-teaching staff of Barasat College. We are having several webinars. Many departments of the college have organized several webinars, and it is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this webinar conducted by the Commerce Department of Barasat College, titled Sustainable Business Opportunities and Resilience, a Post-Pandemic Era. I'm not very familiar with sustainable business opportunities, not in my line of work, but and I'm sure I will be enlightened after the speakers have their presentations. And but what I do understand from sustainability, when we look at the word sustainability, I mean, if you look at it etymologically, sustain, the word sustain, I think, means to help or to bear or to keep up, isn't it? And to help, to sustain, the ability to sustain, also the ability to help. Presumably, we are talking about green businesses. I think we're talking about businesses that are that do not harm the environment, that are that contribute in some way to a progressive environmental activity, that are guided by that businesses that are guided by principles of sustainability, which supplies probably environmental friendly products, and committed to environmental principles in its business. Maybe there are businesses that are now, we are in fact, even in our in our colleges, we are going paperless. That is one way of helping the environment in our very small way. But when I guess in business, it would be something like communication will be entirely online. More of it with less paper, using less paper, so as not to harm the environment. Maybe using refurbishing used products, which is using so that you don't have too much of waste, um, using more recyclable materials. I guess this is all I know about the topic. I'm not sure I have exactly done a very good job at describing at what we are going to do. And I welcome you all. I'm sure you will all enjoy the discussions that follow. And again, I welcome you. Please, Dr. Dashgupta, please continue.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your encouraging speech and supporting us. Without your push, we don't think we would take the initiative of conducting this type of program. Thank you, ma'am, for that. And now I would like to request our principal, sir, Dr. Parthapratim Dashgupta, for delivering his welcome speech on this virtual platform. Please, sir, over to you.
Good evening to everyone. Our honorable, respected Opona Madam, who just inaugurated the program, and also the Department of Commerce, which is always an honor for the college, and also the other participants. I welcome you all, and we are going to hear illuminating speeches regarding the sustainable business opportunity and resilience. And the two eminent speakers are Dr. Monumita Nonde from Brussels, from Brunel University, London, and Dr. Ramprolla Chakraborty from the University of Calcutta. I really believe that this program is going to be extremely illuminating and we will be able to gather a lot of knowledge. In fact, the college has been conducting seminar and webinars in regular basis in this pandemic period. And I believe that this is the 10th or the 12th webinar which we are going to hold. And inspiration from this kind of webinars will percolate to the students and all the other participants. And I really wish this program a success. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for supporting us and guiding us in the adverse situations. Thank you for your words. Now, I would like to continue and request our IQAC convener and head of our Commerce Department, Professor Ranjit Kumar Bo, share his views regarding today's webinar. Please, sir, over to you.
Good evening,
Sir,
lady.
yes, sir.
May I audible?
Yeah, yes, sir. You are absolutely audible.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Barasat College, I welcome all of you for taking a keen part in this webinar. I express my heartfelt gratitude to our respected Chief Patron, Dr. Apona Chakraborty Jain, DPI, Government of West Bengal, and Administrator of our institution for attending the webinar. My thanks to our respected principal, Dr. Parthapratim Dashgupta, who always inspired the young teachers to arrange different educational programs for the interest of students as well as for the society. I express my gratitude to distinguished speakers, Dr. Monumita Nandi, Reader, Accounting and Finance, Brunel University, London, and Dr. Ramprallah Chaudhary, Professor, Department of Commerce, University of Kolkata. I am sure that we all will feel enriched with knowledge after completion. Hope the speakers will focus on the matter elaborately and draw a positive picture on post-pandemic era. I welcome all of you once again to the seminar and hope that you will all have a great time ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your nice words. To carry forward the I would like to our beloved Bonalidi, Dr. Bonali Bosu Banerjee. Man, please take the charge.
Thank you, Sucharita. It's been an honor for me to share the platform to all of you. I have something to say before moving on to the main session. Today, the question answer session will be divided into two halves. The question addressed to the first speaker will be asked just immediately after the completion of our lecture, and same will be applied for the second speaker. So if you have any query, please put it in the chat box. Okay. It's the absolute privilege for me to introduce today's elite speaker, Dr. Monomita Nandi. Dr. Nandi is presently serving as Reader, Accounting and Finance, Brunel University, London. She was awarded her first PhD in Business Finance from University of Calcutta and got her second one in Money and Finance from University of Rome, Tor Vergata, Italy. She completed her graduate certificate training from University of Surrey, UK. She has been at RPI New York as a visiting research scholar and also visiting scholar at Radboud University, Netherlands. She also served as a lecturer in accounting and corporate governance at University of Surrey. She has authored and edited many books, book chapters, conference papers, journal articles in her field of interest. Many research publications in international journal of repute are in her credit. Last but not the least, she backed so many prestigious memberships and affiliations of different reputed universities and institutions. Welcome, Monomita. I offered the first lecture to be presented by you. The platform is yours. Over to you, Monomita.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. So it is good afternoon in London. I'm very happy that I was invited to talk to my friends from Barasat and beyond. And I can see in the chat box there are so many people from different parts of the country. I feel really privileged to talk to all of you. And personally speaking, I'm from Barasat, so I'm so touched that I can't be there physically, but I can talk to all of you. And please feel free to write down your question in the chat box. And if after my talk, we will definitely try to answer some of your questions. And if I cannot answer them, I will try to include them in my email when I get them from the organizers. So I'm very thankful to all my friends, and thank you for coming and and as Shucharita was saying, that now the things has been changed. We have to go through online webinars, which is sometimes really odd, but I feel this is a kind of sustainable idea that when we cannot physically we are physically not able to meet with each other, we can at least do through webinars and do through online platforms. And I'm really thankful to Bonalidi, who was one of my ideal when I was doing my studies. She was senior than me, and she was so good in studies. So she always spent time to be a college teacher of the university teacher, and I kept on following her all the time. And I still remember the days we spent together in discussing different economics topics and other things, how to go for SLETNet exams and how to do well. So I'm really happy to be together with like-minded people. And today I've been asked to talk about the sustainable business after the COVID. Now, what I was thinking that we have gone through lots of webinars and online conferences where we discuss what we need to do. But if you see practically, especially after this second round of lockdown in different parts of India, I was really worried that what we need to do now and how we have to plan ourselves, that what we can do in the very near future instead of thinking long term, what we can do in short term to survive, and how we can overcome certain problems, how we can start helping the economy to recover quickly so that we all can see a better life sometime soon. I know that sometime if you think that like short term is not a good idea, but the current situation invited us to think in short term first instead of going in for long term. So I would like to let me share the screen. Okay, so hopefully you all can see the slides, and if you want to stop me anytime, let me know. So when we talk about sustainability, we have to think what do we mean by sustainability. So we have to do something now that will not adversely affect the present condition. And on top of that, we can also do something good for the future. So at present, I'm in Brunel Business School in Brunel University, London, and I'm reader in accounting and finance, and I do research in interdisciplinary topics and emerging topics in accounting and finance, and also in corporate governance. And my interest is also beyond that I want to work. I am working on artificial intelligence and other related aspects. So this is one of the pictures that I took when I was passing through your college. So it is long back. It is in 2012, 13, sometime like that. And all the students were queuing up there to get admission to the college. And so my understanding was that they are trying to go for a sustainable future. So they want to acquire some knowledge, get a degree, and then get a good job and serve the society, serve the economy, and also do good for themselves. So that is the purpose of the education. And you can see from this picture that, and I'm pretty sure you all knew about those things. So I was quite amazed to see that it was quite humid and hot weather, but still students were standing there to get admission to the college and to get some knowledge and to serve their own life and the society. So this is a kind of sustainable approach. So they are not getting the admission for one day. They are doing it something at that point of time that will help them at that time. Also, that will help them in the future for their own benefit and also for the benefit of the people in the society. Because if more people can get jobs, there would be more development in the economy, there would be more jobs, there would be higher circulation of money in the economy, and there would be more production, and the economy, there would be high demand also. So in every way, it is a sustainable approach. So getting into college, getting higher education, we all do all those things for a sustainable future. Then when you think about what we need to do, so what are the challenges, and this is again a picture from Barasat, and so if you think that we progressed a lot in the last decade, and now we have to think that this present situation gave us a good learning, and what we learned, how we can change ourselves, how we can address those challenges. So one major challenge is the technological challenges. So technology is something that we need, but we don't want to utilize the technology in a bad way. We have to use it for good purposes. So we have to expedite the process. We cannot, like, if you think previously when we go for any official process, then we have to submit a paper copy. We have to go there, queue there for a long time. Like, if you think about the state bank, if you go to the state bank, you have to wait there for so long to do a deposit. But now you can do it through your mobile phone and through internet. So technology helped us, and there might be people in your house who are not well enough to go there by public transport or stand there for a long time because of their health condition, but they can sit in their own house and they can use the advanced technology to make the payment. Then even sitting here, I can send the money so quickly via internet. And so the technology could be really helpful to progress in our life, and even in our day-to-day life. That I was saying a documentary somewhere where a cup of coffee can be made by like technology, by using technology. And like people who are blind, they can use technology to assist them in their day-to-day life. So if you think that with the help of the technology, you can assist the people who got poor eyesight or not having enough listening capacity, so you are reducing the cost for their support, and you are using the technology to support them. So this is a kind of sustainable model that we all need to follow. Then another challenge is the information. So these days we find so many information available on internet. Now the question is, which information is true and which information we need to apply in our day-to-day life, and which information we need to apply to assess a situation. And this type of sometimes there is not enough information about the production process or the good things, and that restricts ourselves from learning from each other. Then the stakeholders' behavior. If you think about a business, if you think about the economy, so if you think about the Indian economy, who are the components of those economy? We, the individuals, the households are one of the main component. Then the student community, the young people. Then we have environment, we have businesses. So there are so many stakeholders of the economy. Now, if I think about the stakeholders of business, we got creditors, we got bankers, and the manufacturing centers, employees, management. So there are so many stakeholders. Now, with the current situation, if we start thinking how we will change our behavior, or how we will influence our behavior, how we will adjust our behavior with the current changes, like every government is saying there is a need of face covering or face mask. Now, we have to understand that why they are saying that. If we are not doing that, and if we are getting higher infection, then we cannot go out. Then the government needs to shut down the production, manufacturing, everything, and we cannot get into the system. We cannot go out, and if we are not healthy enough, we cannot do any kind of other activities. So to continue our day-to-day activities, we need to make some adjustments in our behavior. I'm not saying change completely, but we have to be more aware, more alert, and we have to understand how to cope with the current changes. And then the main challenges is the regulatory challenges. The regulator needs to play an important role here, that if the regulators are not saying that face mask is compulsory, then people might not start using face mask, because regulatory means the regulator, what the regulators are doing, they are saying that this is good for everyone. So we have to understand that how we can help the regulators to come up with suitable models that we can apply for a sustainable future and sustainable business. So do to be sustainable. So this picture is from one event that with help of my friends that I organized at Barasat some time back. So what is it all about? These students goes to different schools, and they are from families who doesn't have enough foods or clothing or other things. So they are somehow maintaining the children education. Now education is such thing by which we can help the children to grow properly. We can help them to make to understand what is economy, how to contribute towards the society, how to contribute towards the economy. And we can do it from the very beginning. Like if I think in a little bit different manner, that if I ask these children that if you wash your hand properly after every meal, or when you go out, come back and wash your hands, so they will learn that this health and hygiene is so important, and they will learn this from their childhood days. So we don't need to force them when they are quite adult to do it. So I'm not saying by washing hands from early age, or even when most of us are doing these things, so that didn't help us to protect us from the virus. But I'm saying that by making by doing those good practices and following those good practices, they can minimize the risk of getting infected from even other diseases or other viruses in future. And we need to create awareness among ourselves. I will come to exactly to the points that how the small businesses could create more awareness and what they can do. And so awareness means if I'm aware that, okay, if I'm going outside and coming back but not washing my hands, I might be caught up with this virus. So this is called awareness. And for sustainable business, for sustainable economy, we all need to be aware. So this is the right time to understand how we can make ourselves aware that what we need to do now to protect our future. So if I think in a different way, that if we think about the climate change, so before this coronavirus crisis, people were talking a lot about what to do with the climate change, but now it is kind of suppressed. So we need to think that how we can enhance the awareness about the climate change. The climate is still changing, and I was reading a news where it says that this winter could be a very harsh winter because of climate change. So, and if you think about the typhoon, the recent cyclones or heavy rainfall in Delhi and other places, why those things are happening? Because the climate is changing. And if we cannot take care of the climate, if we cannot take care of the environment, then we have to lose a lot in future. And say if you think about other diseases which are coming through, which are carried by mosquitoes and other insects and animals. So if we cannot keep our environment very clean and a safe place to live, then we will have those type of diseases in future. So it is really important to create awareness. And if there are more diseases in our environment, in our society, then people have to invest a lot to get rid of those diseases, and then we can see that the whole health system is not enough to cope with those type of crises. Now you can see that whenever you are going to any hospital or nursing home, these places cannot accommodate everyone. So these are the problems that we didn't think about the whole system in a sustainable manner. So if you think about the crisis in the hospital and the other sectors, you will see that these businesses or these organizations were not following a sustainable model. So they failed when there was high demand of their services. So if you think from an economic perspective, then you can see that these models were not well equipped, and they were not able to accept high demand. And so when a model is able to capture all the variances in the environment, then we say that this is a sustainable model. So the models that these health organizations were following were not sustainable. Now, learn from other leaders. There are many leaders who are doing great things to be sustainable. And during this pandemic, we have seen that many businesses who were doing sustainable businesses, they were able to survive during this pandemic very nicely. Though they had hard times, but still they managed to survive. One of the reasons for that was they were doing sustainable business. So they were able to adapt the changes very quickly compared to their competitors or peers. For example, if you think about the alcohol companies, so what they did, they used that alcohol for hand sanitizers, and they merged with other small companies to supply them certain amount of alcohols, because they got that knowledge about alcohol. Then there are other businesses who got knowledge about, say, clothing, or they are the leaders in the retail sector. So they started helping others or small businesses to produce small masks. And I was saying in one area, in a remote area in West Bengal, what a person did, that he was doing some. He was having manufacturing of something, and that he converted. He was a bag manufacturer, and he converted that, and he started using that for other PPE purposes. So these type of things we should learn from each other. We should learn from other leaders. We need to see around. We need to see at international level what people are doing, how they are coping with those changes, and what we can learn from them. Then the other thing to become sustainable is we have to always work with the policymakers. Policymakers plays an important role. They always think about what are the difficulties or what are the problems in the existing rules and regulations, and what kind of changes are required. So they keep on changing all those things from time to time to make the businesses work better. So we have to bring those topics towards them to influence the policymakers. And then comes the reliable data. So reliable data means if you are doing an analysis of certain points, then you have to use reliable data. Very recently, I think yesterday or today, I saw that New Zealand is saying that they will create a model which can be applied by any country, and that is how to analyze certain data to take important decisions like medical decisions or strategic decision. So reliability of data is really important. So that's why if you are a researcher, if you are doing a research and you say that, okay, I took this data from 10 companies and then I want to come up with a solution, then I would say that might not be a reliable data, because you might have collected it honestly, but when you are trying to generalize, you are missing out many companies which doesn't come under that 10 companies feature, and every company got little bit of different features. So it is really important that if you consider reliable data for any kind of analysis. Then the next point is trust. Trust is also important, because if I don't believe what you are doing, I will not be able to apply it properly. So you have to create, for sustainable business model, you have to create trust. Like when I was doing this even with my friends, I was told different negative things by different people, that okay, if you do those things, the children might not like it, or the local authorities might not like it. Then my point was that I should have trust on what I'm doing, and I should trust certain people who are telling me the positive sides. Yes, criticism is required, but on top of that, I need to criticize myself to understand which one to trust and which one I shouldn't trust. So one of the major things that I learned during this process is there are good suggestions by friends and family people, but if I don't trust myself that yes, I can do it and this is I'm doing for something good, then I would never ever be able to do it. Then doing ethical business, and so every businesses needs to think that am I doing ethical practices, that am I affecting a group of people, or a group of animal, or any other component of the society to make more benefit for myself. Like if you think about big companies who are producing leather bags, I would not tell the name of the company, but it was in recent news that they use lots of crocodile's leather and snake leather, snake skins to manufacture these leather bags, and they were kind of banned from the market. So why it is happening? Because you are hurting some animals for your own benefit, which is not right. And then the other thing is, to become sustainable, you need to decentralize. If you always think that, okay, the prime minister will say something and then every state will follow that in every manner, and then every district, every zilla, or some other small places where county will follow those instructions, you cannot apply what you can apply in West Bengal. You might not be able to apply that in a small place in Bihar or in northern India. So because every area, India is such a big country, it's very hard to follow one single rule. But yes, the prime minister can tell you the basic thing, and then you have to think your minister, state level minister, will tell you what to do, which is good for the state. Then you as an individual, you as a component of that state, you have to think how you will do that. Now if the state government is saying you shouldn't go out, means you shouldn't go out, that's clear. But then the question is how I will do my shopping. Then if you don't know how to do online shopping, then you can take help from other people in your neighborhood, you can take help from your younger generation, or someone who is quite aware of this. So there are different ways of doing it. Then I was talking to some other person in a very remote area, and he was telling me, I was telling him that why don't you, they are not having enough food items there. So, and the government is giving 5 kilo rice to every member of the family for 1 month, which is definitely not sufficient. So I was telling him that why you all don't come together and cook and put all your stuffs in one place and cook for the whole community. This is a kind of sustainable model. So he said it is not possible because in my house I might have 5 members, but in another house they got 4 members, and they might think that okay, I'm giving more, but I'm getting less. But there comes the awareness. So if you are aware that by doing it at individual level, you are spending too much fuel, you are spending too much you need to have good utensils, and you have to spend money for spices, oil, salt, everything. But if you come together, then you are spending less. So this type of sustainable model can be really good. And even for business, if they think like this, that if I'm a small business, if I could work with a big business, and if I could supply them some certain things, that could be helpful for me. So and I think because of this crisis, the main constraint is we are very much concerned about our health. So to overcome the health problem, to keep ourselves happy with whatever is happening, if we are staying inside the house, and in these days you will find in every part of India we can see many big complex where we have lots of families staying together in one complex. So this is the right time where we can know each other. And if you decide that okay, Sunday morning we will play a music in our own complex, and we all will be benefited, we all will feel happy, we all will feel connected with each other. So in this way we can follow a sustainable model to be happy during the difficult time. So sustainable doesn't mean only the business should be sustainable. Every unit, every component of the whole economy, whole country should be happy, and should be following the sustainable model. And that will create opportunity. Like if I'm a doctor and I can treat someone, I can help that person in my community, and we all can do exercises together to stay healthy, we can eat healthy foods together, we can spend less money. So in this way we can create this kind of decentralization. Instead of only criticizing and only depending heavily on the central government, we can do something at our own level, at our own, by putting our own effort. And doing so would definitely bring in happiness and prosperity in our society. Now, this picture is taken somewhere near Amdanga Temple, and this is all jute. And you can see that why I kept this picture, because I really like this picture, and I want to explain what are the advantages to be sustainable. We got lots of resources. If we do sustainable business, if we think sustainably, then we can create more resources. And so instead of throwing certain resources, we can think how we can use it for some other purposes. I can use this jute for clothing. I can use it for other accessories. So there are different uses of one particular product, and sometimes we might not think it properly because we are depending a lot on the big businesses. The big businesses are in the jute industry is concerned about certain aspects. They might not think about how to utilize the leftover things from jute. So we can create many resources if we think sustainably. Then location-wise, India is located in such a nice place. We got mountain, we got hills, we got river. So we can take advantages of many things. Like if you think about the coastal area, they have lots of opportunity to produce renewable energy. So there is no end of wind energy, and then they have sea and they have rivers where they can produce lots of agricultural products which needs the salted water for their development. So location wise, if we think sustainably, if we can find out different sustainable business model, then location wise India is an ideal country where we can do a lot with these resources. then our 35% of our of our whole population is very young, and sorry, not 35%, more than 50% of our people are somewhere having an average age of 35 years or so. So we got a huge workforce who can help us to do more productions. And if we can, we the leaders, we the researchers, we the people who can lead small group of people, if we can come up with sustainable model, then other people can do good activities for the development of the economy and reach beyond boundary. And sometimes I have seen many people from Tamil Nadu, from Assam and other places, they are doing lots of trade at international level where they are using those sustainable products. And if you see the oil from certain flower or something which can be used as a in the perfume industry, so there are so many ways of doing it, then it can create more interest from the investors, and you can also get international investors. I knew a company where they work in different offices in India, but they are not at all located in India, and they are doing really good business, and they are bringing in lots of investment for the Indian companies, which is really good. Then it can help us to enhance our knowledge. And you will see that if you are having enough knowledge, you know how to survive even in difficult situations, and you can control your pressure, and you can control your stress, and you are so happy. If you are happy, then you are having a good health, and that is affecting your activities, and you are more positive, you are motivated to do better work for yourself and for your society. So knowledge is something, if we are doing sustainable activities, then we can get higher knowledge from each other. So these are the sustainable goals defined by UN. And if you see carefully that they are highly linked with each other. So if we think about generating equality in every aspect, so there would be no differences. There would be no differences in pay because of differences in age. Then good health and well-being. So good health and well-being is also related to zero hunger and no poverty. So all those things, clean water and sanitization, responsible consumption and production. So if you think that, okay, I got this 1 quintal of minerals, so I will take it out and I will use for the production, and then the next day you don't have anything. So you have to be quite responsible. So it is really important that how you can develop your activity, how you can influence your activities to achieve those sustainable goals. Now I'm coming exactly to the points that we are discussing a lot. So until now I said that what we need to be, what we should do, but now I'm saying what is the main problem now and what we should do now. So I took this report from McKinsey and Company, and they were talking about the problems associated with coronavirus, and they identified 3 small sectors which are suffering a lot. And if I like to project the same model for India, I could see that yes, in India also we are talking about the daily wage workers, and we are talking about small businesses, and we are exactly talking about these 3 main sectors. One is the food sector, one is apparel, fashion and luxury, and the third one is restaurants. So in the food sector, if you think about the grocery store, the local grocery stores, and the people who sell the vegetables on carts, they cannot come out, so their whole like livelihood is affected. Then we go to the department store, so there are lots of problems even in the department store. And then specialty and hybrid brands in the fashion industry, and the restaurants. We have loads of restaurants. If you go around even Kolkata, you will find lots of restaurants who are very small, and they are located beside the road, and they cannot survive now because people are not able to go out and do purchases from those places. Now, what we can do, that one way is that retailer or brand, it buys a like business. So if you are a little bit bigger business, or if you, why I'm telling all of you, because you are in either in academia or in certain profession where, or in business, where you can take those initiatives at a very smaller level, and you can help your local community and your life too. So if you see the if you are staying in a lane where there are say 3 grocery store, and all of them are closed now, but if you see carefully that some of them might be very good in some kind of items, and they might know something, that how to prepare some jam, jelly, this type of things at home, and with the vegetables or with the fruits, and then they are selling those things. And if we go to cooperatives, we usually see this type of things, or the pickles and other things. So what these people can do, they can, you can help to come these 3 units together, and then find out that what you can do collectively. And if there is high demand of this product in the society, sorry, can you turn off your microphone? So if you can collectively do something with those businesses, then that would be great. And then even for a retailer brand buys into a different channel. Now, if you if you find that okay, this type of products might not be useful, then what you can do, you can also think about a related product. Like if you are selling, say, jam or pickles previously, and you think that people don't need that now, then you can think that can you prepare some food item out of it, and can you do small packings and supply it day to day for the elderly people, or some organization where they got people with kind of known disabilities who cannot go out. So there are different ways of thinking about all those things. Then the other thing is retailer brand buys new business model, or or they adjust with all the changes. So what model they can do, that if they see that they don't have enough money to run their business. Recently I was talking with one very small business, and that was a very small, because there were only 3-4 people involved in that business, and they were involved in the entertainment business. Now, because of this pandemic, now they are thinking it differently. They are trying to produce some kind of apps, and they are doing kind of online businesses. So their own experience. These are the things you can do. You can follow a different model, and retailer or brand buys a capability, and you can also approach the retailer to buy, because they might not be interested now. This Atmanirbhar Abhiyan is going on, and there is a huge cry that don't go for Chinese product, or go only for Indian product. So the big outlets or the department stores, or the retailers, they might be interested interested in your product. So why don't we approach them? So sometimes people don't have enough money or capacity of talking to big people. So we, the people who are having that capacity, we have to identify the people who really need this type of help, and we can come forward. Like the restaurants, they can like think in a different way, that instead of doing like table service, can I do online service? And if I was saying one Bengali program where like what do you call Didi number one? Yeah, there one restaurant was advertising that we are now giving home delivery, and here in London, the one of the biggest restaurant is Bombay Basari, and I usually get emails from them, and I found that every day they are saying within this distance we are doing home delivery. You can pick up, and you know what? That in some sectors they need lots of people for delivery, and they are hiring too many people for delivery. And very recently, last week, a German company hired 10,500 people when many companies were doing job cuts. They were recruiting, and they recruited 10,500 delivery people. So you might not need lots of expertise, but if you can drive a vehicle, and if you got the license, and if you are interested to do something, you can do it. And there is no shame of doing any other thing that you have not done before. This is the right time. And every day we can see in news here that many people who were great players, or they were entrepreneurs, they cannot run their business now, so they are working for the shopping center, shopping mall, and they are helping them to deliver product to people in need. So what we need to really do during this recovery time, so the previous slide that I was explaining, that what we can start doing from now, and then if when the things get a little bit slower, then we have to bring in changes in our behavior. Then we have to collaborate a lot with researchers and businesses, and networking with investors, and so that they can they can invest in your business. And then clustering at local level, like I was saying, that you can do many things at local level, where you just do something for your locality. Information sharing at national level, if you are doing something good, why don't you go out and share those information at national level? I watched recently that two young children, they saved their pocket money, and they helped to buy loads of PPE to get it supplied to the hospitals, local hospitals, which are really good. And then few ladies who were sitting in house, they are preparing the mask for the people in need. And so this type of information we need to share at national level, so that it will bring in more sustainability, and that will help us to think of a sustainable model, and cost beneficial ways to establish relationship with investors. And these days you can see in the news that all the daily necessities are, the prices of daily necessity products are increasing a lot, and even the vegetables and other things, the chilies, green chilies, are very expensive. And so this type of news are very upsetting, and we have to think how we can manage this cost side, and if we can create more demand, and if we don't entertain the seller, then we might be able to reduce, because if we keep on paying them this high price, then they will keep charging more. But at one point, if we stop paying them, then they have to sell their products. They will find other ways. Here in England, I have never seen that whatever happened, there is a rise in the price of onion, potatoes, and other stuff. So I think because the controlling of the whole market is so nice that these things are not happening. And learning about worthiness of innovative projects, we cannot say, oh, okay, there is no meaning of trying it. Give it a go, try, and try to think about innovative projects, how innovatively we can do. Like the way now we are studying, we are using online platforms. We never thought about it before. So we have to keep on thinking about innovative projects. I like really this quote by Maya, that if you don't like something, change it. And if you cannot change it, then change your attitude. So if you see one thing that you cannot change, if you think it in a different way, you will see that you are in a position to change your attitude to accept that change, or you are doing something that is helping yourself to survive properly with all the changes happening around you. So I would strongly recommend that if you think that you want to make changes, you want to survive the situation, then you have to do it very differently because of the pandemic and because of the coronavirus crisis. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Monomita. It's really apt and lucid talk.
Thank
Your,
you.
your deliberation today enlightened the prevailing challenges of business and also highlight the necessary way to overcome the situation. Education, awareness, learn from others, trust, ethical business, decentralization are the key to make the business sustainable. Putting our own effort, we can make us happy. We learn from you. And also you have shown the affected sectors, the intensity of affectedness and intensity of affectedness of different industries. A comparative study. This is highly informative.
Thank you.
As a whole, it's very much interesting and fruitful to combat the shrunken situation of business. Now, I would like to take question addressed to Dr. Monomita. Monomita, are you ready to take the questions?
Yeah, I think I can see some questions in the chat. Do you want me to answer them now?
Yeah.
Okay,
so first question from Sharaj Prasad. The question is, after COVID-19 pandemic, in what ways India can pursue a sustainable and resilient recovery?
Yeah, so thank you for this question. And to be a resilient economy, what is the main thing? That first we have to now understand how we should cope with the situation now. If we can cope with the situation now, and if we understand that, if we cannot take care of our health aspects, we cannot do anything. And if we don't maintain or follow the regulations given by the government, the national, state, every government, then they have no other choice. They have to close the economy, which is really bad for every one of us. So we have to think that for time being, we need to slow down and start thinking that what I should do in the recovery period, how I will help my business, my activities to grow. And then helping each other, that is also important. It's not only your problem or my problem. It is a kind of world crisis. So no one can help other if they are not trying by themselves. So I think to be resilient and to keep on prospering, like we have to identify the areas, we have to identify what went wrong, what we can do. Like for small businesses, we don't have any records of small businesses. How many small businesses are there? How many sellers are there sitting beside the railway station to sell flowers in the morning. They are also they are earning their living from there. So are we able to count them? So we researchers, if we take the responsibility to come forward to take care of small sectors and do a thorough research that what needs to be done for them, what they want, what the government is asking us to do. And if we start thinking about that, then we think that can we help them? Can we go to the government and say that, see, we need this change for them, for the benefit of those people? Can we influence the government to take certain restrictions for them or some steps for them? So there are different ways of doing it, and we have to find out the most feasible way of doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Monomita. The second question is from Sandeep Kumar Pandit. The question is, what do you think about the impact of work from home model with sustainability?
Oh, okay. This is a very beautiful question, because work from home was there. It is not that it's very something very new, but it was working in a different way. And I think at least in the England we have been told that until next June, July, we have to understand that there would be a new normal. And the new normal is, if you are not absolutely required to go to the workplace, you have to start thinking how you will work from home. And when you are working from home, it is completely up to you. If you go to a company, if you are working for a company, if you are working for an university, you are going there, you have to deliver the lecture from this time to that time. Now, if you are working from home, you know that you have to deliver the lecture, but you are saving your traveling time, you are saving the environment, you are not less polluting it. You can organize your own activities, like you can call very often. Say if you are driving, you cannot call your parents and friends, but if you are at home, you are going for a walk in the evening, you can call your friends and you can talk to your family. So it is completely up to you. So you have to understand how mindfully you can live your own life when you are working from home. If you start doing that, you will feel that you are living a happy life. And if you really need to go to work, then go for it. Otherwise, stay at home.
Thank you, Mono. The third chosen question is from Dr. Sujatra Bhattacharya. Madam, you have mentioned the education as one of the preconditions of sustainability. Children in rural areas and among urban poor do not have access to the education and technology. This increased digital divide is also raising the inequality in skill formation. Don't you think this will hamper the sustainability of business in the long run in a labor surplus economy in India, as low skill can be replaced by the modern technology?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think that we can take the responsibility like by God grace, if we manage to get a little bit of education, we can take the responsibility to find out a sustainable model for the people living in rural area. Whenever I talk to someone, this is a very common point, and you would not believe that the problem of technological devices is a worldwide problem. So it's not only in rural India or somewhere. Like when the pandemic started in South Korea, what they did, they took help from the post office people who knew different rural areas, and they identified the children who doesn't have the benefit of having mobile devices. So what the government did, what the state government did, they they bought some mobile phones and other devices, and with the help of this postman, and they reached those people, these children, and gave them the mobile devices. On the other hand, in England, also in different rural places, they don't have enough connection, they don't have laptops, and all the schools, all the colleges, universities were giving lectures through internet and using technological devices. So what the government did, I think the government or a group of volunteers, they sent out a call around the country that if you have a spare mobile, if you have a spare computer, please put it in your local hospitals. And then these people were elderly people, and they took the responsibility to collect all those things, and then they put it in one place, or they send by post or something to help those children to get access to mobile devices. This is a sustainable model, that if I got two things, and then if those people doesn't have anything, why I can't give one of mine, so to help them. And I completely agree with you that this increased digital devices also raising the inequality and skill formation. We can do it in different way. We can apply the AI. We can apply the other technological advancement to overcome those things. Like if you are sitting there in your own home and you want to take care of, say, 100 children in rural area, what you can do, you want to take care of their health issues, okay? So you want to establish a small dispensary in that area. Physically you cannot go, and you cannot do like that. So what you can do, through cloud system, you can contact the local dispensary there, and with the local young people who got minimum first aid knowledge, you can train them online, and they got access to mobile. And if they don't have, then you can contact somewhere a little bit in the proper area who can go there and train them and physically. And then you train those people, and those people will inform through cloud system that we need, say, a kind of medicine, ibuprofen or something like that. And then you can contact the suppliers to supply there directly. And I have seen by myself, I work in a very remote area in Sundarban area, and they were completely disconnected with the other parts after this Amphan. But then when I managed to get in touch with them, I found that they have some resources with some people, not all people. And they said that if you come by a small boat, and they can collect the stuff from you beyond certain point. So there are different ways of thinking. And one of the major reasons of thinking about sustainability is how to reduce this inequality, how we can help those people to come with us, with our children, to get the same benefit. I know it's not easy, it's not one day task. We need many people, but we need lots of awareness among us so that we can come together and try to do all those good things for other people in the society.
Thank you. Thank you, Manomita. Can we take a couple of questions more? Two questions are there, if your time permits. Then,
Yeah, sure. Right.
Okay. Then next question is from Anita Rudola. Really, how agricultural sector adapt to present scenario as marketing farm produce at desirable rates has become quite difficult?
Yeah. Agriculture is an important sector in India because still now we have huge reliance on agriculture. And as because of the pandemic, you can see that you can still produce agricultural product, right? So that is not stopped. Now we have to think how to channelize those things. Now, if we take the initiative to talk to local government that if your area is producing more of, say, wheat, and my area is doing more rice, then we can do an exchange. And by doing that type of activities, we can circulate the product within the society. And I was talking with some farmers in the rural area, and I told them that, see, don't stop working on taking out the fine products out of the field, because if you can think of different models, how to store those products properly, and if we can develop certain technically advanced models to help the agricultural the farmers to like protect this, then that can be helpful for them to survive in any kind of crisis. And if we can manage to do that, we can control the price of the agricultural product, because there would be enough supply in every area. The demand will always be there for the agricultural product. And then we also need to think that if a farmer is working in the rice field, what else they can do from the rice paddy field. So are they able to do any kind of other products, or they can use it for other purposes? Like some elements from the paddy fields are required in the pharmaceutical companies, and so we have to think that people producing healthy diets and other things, can we supply them? Can we supply it to the oats producing industry? So we have to figure out different ways of helping this agriculture people in agriculture. Okay.
Thank you. The last question from Shujit Mondol. What could be the biggest potential opportunity and challenges of CSR practices in the post-COVID-19 era?
Yeah, this is one of my research area that we are working on, corporate social responsibilities and extinction accounting and extinction biodiversity and extinction. So one way of doing it, we have to, there are rules and regulations, like SEBI issued some regulation, and you would be amazed to know that to fulfill the regulations, regulatory requirements, the companies, there were more than 1,000 companies who reported about their CSR activities last year. We have to encourage more companies to do that. And we have to show them that, see, if a company is doing CSR activities, they are performing well, they are creating more profit for them, they are getting high investment from investors. So we have to make them aware that, see, by reporting, not only because you have to report, you are reporting, but you are doing really good things for the society. Say, for example, one big company or a medium-sized company, if they are making enough.
Monomita, you are not audible. You are not audible.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Somehow someone closed that. So, like if there is a big company and or a medium-sized company who is doing well after this crisis, what they can do,
You are not audible, Monomita.
Someone is shutting off my microphone by mistake. But anyway, so what they can do, they can do a small survey with the local people and see what type of facilities they need. If they create a small place for children to play in that area, or a small dispensary or a club where the elderly people can go for a breakfast meet or for a prayer every week. So these are the activities they can do for the society. So it might not be required to do the same activities they are doing for manufacturing or production, but they can do other activities. Like, for example, during the pandemic, what happened, the big restaurants, they started preparing food packs for people in the hospital, for the doctors and the nurses, because they are working for long hours. Then some people who were doing the plastic, who were producing the plastic sheets for for the files and the other things, what they did, they used that for the PPE. So these type of things, and even our university, my university, did a lot for the society. And these are kind of CSR activities. So I can give you another example. What I did personally, that I worked with the local businesses during this pandemic, and I spent 1 hour every week to call them, to listen to them, that if they got any problem, and if there is any problem, where to look for those information. So this kind of help, this kind of activities are also part of CSR, and they have to consider that not only profit making is our business is to look for the environment, look for animals, and we have to take care. We shouldn't affect other sectors or other stakeholders for the benefit of my own business. So there are many things that needs to be done, and people are doing good research around this, and the businesses can get involved with the researchers and academicians. And I think we, the academic people in academia, should take the initiative to get in touch with the business to understand what they need and how we can help them.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Due to paucity of time, I have to wrap up the session. Due to Dr. Nondi's another assignment, she has to leave us from here, but will be active in the chat box to respond the remaining questions. If anyone has any query left, please jot it down in the chat box, and she will get the answer. He or she will get the answer. Punamita, the chat box is flooded with compliments, and being my childhood friends, I can boast of the opportunity to introduce you in this platform. Thank you. Thanks a lot for being with us.
Yeah, everyone stay safe, and I can feel that I'm at Barasat now, so I'm feeling really good. Cannot travel this year, so I will try to answer all of your questions, and if you have any other question, you can be in touch with me anytime. Thank you very much, and all the best for the remaining session.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Now, I would like to hand over the platform to Professor Mizarul Islam to introduce today's second speaker. Over to you, Mizarul.
Thank you, Vandali ma'am. And greetings to all of you. It's give me tremendous contentment to introduce the most esteemed personality who have won in their respective field. Before we begin the introduce, I would like to express my heartful gratitude to all of you who sincerely committed to the event to make it in a success. In this event, we would have been impossible without the support each and everyone present here. And I introduce formally the next speaker in shortly, Professor Dr. Rampulla Chaudhary. He is a professor at the Postgraduate Department of Commerce, University of Kolkata. He has a master's degree in commerce from the university in Kolkata, and MBA with a specialization in finance from Indira Gandhi National University. He completed his PhD degree from the Universities of Kolkata. He is also a fellow member of the Insurance Institute of India. He served in the Department of Commerce at Bankim Sardar College, South 24 Parganas, during 2002 to 2009, moreover 7 years. He is also visiting faculty at the postgraduate Department of Commerce, different colleges of Kolkata. He receives lots of awards nationally and internationally. One of them nationally and internationally, and he also authors lots of books and edited books and other things. And he also completed minor research project sponsored by the University Grant Commission during the 2007 to 2009. He has authored a book titled Total Quality Management in Higher Education, a study on selected higher education institute of Kolkata district. And many research scholars have successfully completed their MPhil PhD research degrees in his supervision. In his supervision. During the present pandemic situation, he has been invited to present his views on COVID-19 and higher education in India in different national, international webinar. He also talked different TV channel in public space. And if any mistake, excuse me, sir. And I over to you, Vanaladi, for next technical session.
Thank you, Mazharul Islam, for using very soft and very nice words for me. I don't know whether I am capable of hearing the spirit of all those words or not, I don't know. At the outset, I would like to welcome you all, and I would like to convey my sincere and heartfelt thanks to the organizer of this international webinar, particularly on the topic sustainable business opportunities and resilience in a post-pandemic era. As we are encountering with the fact and witnessing from the different sources of reports coming from the different institutions that this pandemic situation is not going to overcome in next 2, 3, 4, or 5, 6 months. So it may sustain for even 2, 3 years, or in certain cases even more than that, because we all are the developing economy, and the impact on the developing economy of this pandemic is going to be really, really very, very bad. So this was the effect of the pandemic COVID-19 we all are going to face in near future. Uh, Another issue is that although vaccine will come, but due to the inherent problems of our economy, the common people may not be in a position to afford the cost, and the entire vaccination program would take another 1 year or 2 year or even more than that to complete the entire India. We have already witnessed such type of scenario in case of the plague, in case of the influenza flu, in case of so many other pandemics in history. So basically, today we are going to talk on the sustainable business opportunity and resilience. And before I'm coming to this opportunities and resilience, we cannot deny the existing pattern of financial structure and the pattern of functioning by those institutions vis-a-vis the policymakers' forthcoming agenda they are going to fulfill in near future. Basically, new pandemic COVID-19 is devastating the entire world, and the developing economies are not the exception. Rather, underdeveloped economy and developing economy are going to be the worst affected economy in the world. If we are going to take on accounts of, or the, you can say, the tally, then till date almost 1 crore 67 lakhs of people have been affected, and it has claimed more than 6 lakh 58,000 people lives. In case of India, that this figure is stood near about 15 lakh, and about 34,000 number of lives have been claimed by this pandemic. So this is the worst situation, and really it is in against of the humanity. Even if you will go by the rank of the different countries, then India comes only after the USA and Brazil, and it occupies the third position. Now, let us uh, allow or let us just talk on the economic impact. If we fail to sketch out the real impact of this pandemic COVID-19 on Indian economy, then we would not be in a position to talk on the sustainable business opportunity and resilience. So what happened? This pandemic has been the reason for the financial emergency after the independence. So far as I understand, after the independence, Indian economy has witnessed several crises of its time. But this time, after independence, really this financial emergency is going to be the very, very intense. The core sector contracted by almost, you can say, 38 to 40% only in April 2020 due to this lockdown hit. And the all eight infrastructure sector is also going to be the worst affected. When we takes on account of the cement industry, then cement output fell by 86%, and fertilizer and crude oil shrank by 4.5% and 6.4% respectively. And I'm talking only in the month of April 2020. Due to this pandemic, various industries, say for example, as I have talked about the cement, but besides this, coal, steel, natural gas, refinery, crude oil, all these are experiencing substantial loss of their production. So, and apart from this, aviation, tourism, and international trade among the worst affected during this period. And you see, aviation and tourism, we will also discuss separately to just account for how this industry is going on during the pandemic period. So, in this impact, we need to also highlight another two issue of our economy, and that is number one is the GDP growth rate. My dear friend, I would like to draw your attention that pandemic cases started to be reported in our country since January 2020 only. Prior to that, it was there in the other part of the globe, but in India, we have reported it in January, and thereafter the number of cases have been increasing. And from March onward, we are going to all these we are knowing, so I'm not going to detail. But why I'm talking about the January 2020? Because you see the even current financial year 2021 and in the earlier financial year 2019 and 20, the GDP growth rate was only 4.2%. For the year 2019, it was 5.02%. For 18, it was 6.12%. For 2017, it was 7.04%. And for 2016, it was 8.26%. So there is a clear and without any debatable discussion, we can perceive this view that there is a clear declining trend in the GDP growth rate. So since 2016 to 2020 financial year ending, almost in all these 5 financial year, we are experiencing this declining trend in the GDP growth rate, which is exclusive from the pandemic. This issue should be taken into account when we will be talking about the sustainability. Because what is your financial strength? What is your financial stability right now? Accordingly, you can absorb the external environmental shock within the economy. Now, you see, in this, after the discussing on the GDP growth rate, another some very interesting facts are coming through the media reporting, and that is ICRA, ICRA expects that 9.5% contraction in the GDP in this current financial year. Whereas the finance secretary reports that the direct tax revenue in quarter one of the financial year 2021 is 80% of the quarter one of the 1920. And herein, it is very interesting fact to be noted that corporate rate being cut to 22% from 30%. So what is our policy maker, I mean finance secretary or the union government finance secretary are saying or trying to impose the data that 22% tax rate is presently for the corporate tax rate, and it has been reduced from 30%. And you see, 80% we have already collected the direct tax. When you will tax on the GST collection, then it is also for the month of April and May 2020 is about 32,000 crores and 91,000 crores, which is about, you can say, the 70% of the last year. Now, so what they are trying to say, our economy is, everything is okay. Of course, we are going to have the experience of pandemic COVID-19, and we will uh, uh, improve it very soon. This is the reason why another issue is coming into the discussion, that very soon we are going to experience the V-shaped growth. That means we are going to experience a turnaround in our economy, just from the falling economy to the rising economy. Why? Because the base rate has been reached to the saturation, but it always not hold good. Why I'm telling you, and for this purpose, I will have to go into a bit back. Say, for example, in 2008, 2007, 2008, subprime crisis were there, and our economy has not been affected due to banking prudential law, having larger amount of PSUs and public sector banks, of course. But in last 12 years, continuous decline in economy has been experienced. Rather, one will not be disagree with my this view that there has been fashion to finance a certain amount of our union budget by making a disposal of public sector undertakings. So two times, and apart from this, two times our union government has taken the funds from the Apex Bank, that is the RBI. So you see, one time 1,76,000 crores, and another time about 30,000 crores or like that. So what happened? These funds are being transferred in the hands of the union government. Liquidity is still an important issue in the economy, and we all know that the interest rate has even come under the level of you can say 3% or even less than that. And another issue is the price of crude oil came to record low level in the last 20 years. And the price of petrol and diesel is at highest level. Now, what is the science? How you are collecting the revenue, and what is the state of the common people? Because the price of diesel and petrols is always going to impact the life of the common people. And if I will not talk about the unemployment rate, then it will not be justice to the common people of the country. So unemployment rate is at record high level in last 45 years, maybe the 7 to 8% or like that. In April 2020, as we all know, the 26% unemployment in India was there, and almost 14 crores of Indians have to lose their job. You see, they are sitting. You just simply recall the scenario of the migrant laborers. In urban area, 53% of the business has been dropped. Simply 53%. So union government has and suspended this MP-led local area development fund for subsequent 2 financial year, and which will adversely affect the school buildings, road construction, relief works, or infrastructural development within our locality. These are the issues. And if you want engage, or if you want experience these type of the infrastructural development, then it will having a impact on the growth of that area also, economic growth of that area also. So migrant labor issue is taken very seriously, because 3,500 crores have been allotted for their food, but this amount was really penny. Many of them could not get the benefit. It has also been reported that more than 30,000 crores, sorry, 3,000, not 30,000, 3,000 crores rupees have been collected as a railway fare from the migrant laborers during the mobility within the country during this pandemic period. So, actually, and day before yesterday, last we have witnessed that there is a financial stability report by the RBI, where it estimates that the bad loan may rise to 14.7%, almost you can say 15%. That means what? In March 2021, our bad loans would be estimated to 15%, whereas in comparison to the March 20 and March 90, it was 8.5% and 11.5% respectively. So from 19, 11.5%, it reduced to 8.5%, whereas in this particular financial year from 1920 to 2021, we are going to experience a growth of almost, you can say 7%, or it is going to be double, almost double. And MSE sector is the another issue. If we will not highlight, then we will also not be in a position to talk about the resilience of our economy or business prospects. So MSE sector is the backbone of our Indian economy. 29% of the GDP is being contributed from this sector, and almost 45% of the total exports also coming from this sector. Under the situation, the MSME sector should also be paid attention very intensely by the union government. And 12 crore of people are employed in this sector. Now, if 12 crore people are employed in this MSME sector, and as I have talked about the GDP contribution rate, or you can say the share of export by the MSME sector, all these make it very, very important for the policymaker to pay their attention to revive this MSME sector. 71% of the business were not able to pay their salary for the month of March 2020. And this is a report based on All India Manufacturers Organization. 5,000, near about 5,000 MSMEs across from country have been selected, and it reports that 71% of the employee were either paid lesser amount or not paid at all. And union government announced 3 lakh crores of package to help this sector. Now we need to also just have a look on this particular initiative made by our union government. This 3 lakh crores of revival package, what have been exclusively announced for the MSME sector, was very, very welcome and right step by the economists or the policymaker of our country. But unfortunately, these amounts disbursement rate or disbursal is not that much expedite, and which is creating the another problem for our economy. Once we will talk about the sustainability, once we will talk about the revival of these MSME sector, which contributes almost 30% of your GDP, and where we are observing that 71% staffs are being either underpaid or not paid at all. In that case, this 3 lakh crores rupees package is really, really very, very helping initiative by the union government. But these amounts are not being allotted, or allotments are not being made very frequently. As I was talking about the FSR, that is the Financial Stability Report by the RBI, actually, this report speaks for itself that this pandemic is going to sustain for almost, you can say, 3 to 5 years, next 3 to 5 years. And as I have told you, we will talk about the tourism, aviation, as well as the other construction industry. So basically, the chances of recovery of these 5 industries in next 6 months are almost, you can say, no. That means the percentage of respondents, what amount, or you can say what section of the respondent think chances of recovery in 6 months are really, really very bleak. That means for these 5 industries, tourism and hospitality industry, 90% of the respondent, because this is a survey report, FSR, and this FSR survey reports witness that 90% respondents says that in next 6 months, tourism industry, hospitality industry is not going to overcome. Aviation industry. After the tourism, aviation industry is the another business houses which experience the huge amount of loss and in next 6 months, the chances of reopening it is, you can say, 15%, 1 5. So there is no chance, 85%. Similarly, the MSMEs also, there is chance of not opening the economy, or the enterprises are 60%. This non-chances are for automobiles and construction is 50-50%. So in totality, the majority of the different sectors within our economy is going to be shut down. And already it is not in operating, just the essential goods or the essential commodities and services providing companies or business enterprises are operating, of course, but the chances of just getting as I was talking about, the V-shaped growth rate experience by the Indian economy. So how both these two things are completely two opposite sides that I want to highlight. Next issue is all about the construction and real estate was doing badly even before the lockdown. As I was talking about, over a period of a few financial years, the GDP growth rate was not there. But very interestingly, for the construction and real estate industry, actually the 24% of the loan to this sector were NPA even before the pandemic, and it was second largest NPA in our economy, just after the gems and jewelry sector. Because in gems and jewelry sector, 25%, almost you can say a quarter of the loan amount, was already turned as bad loan. Gems and jewelry is another financial scams, banking scams are there. I'm not entering into that corporate governance issue, otherwise it will encroach upon a huge amount of time. So just simply I am reporting two things here, that after the gems and jewelry sector having 25% of the total loans turned into a bad, construction and real industry uh, was badly affected with the experiencing of 24% of the loan amount as the NPA. Now you see, so in this business environment, our business opportunity and the resilience should be retrospected. And when we are going to introspect that where from we can begin, where from our business opportunity can be materialized, then we need to think on the business environment risk, because this risk has pop out suddenly, right? So geographical environment may be the, say for example, natural environment or infrastructural environment. These environments are very, very closely associated with the risk component of the any business enterprises. Apart from this, the political environment, regulatory environment are also very, very important, particularly for the economy like ours. Because the political stability and the willpower of the willpower, I mean to say, that is the agenda, policy, welfare programs taken for the common people. All these issues are going to be associated with the uh, business environmental risk. That is why I am raising all these issues. And regulatory environment. That means if you are not complying with some regulatory requirements, then what would be the outcome? Many cases can be reported from the corporate governance experience, but I am not going into those specific pending cases of with any specific telecommunication providing companies or like that. Another risk is all about the technological environment. And you see, this technological environment is really, really very, very fatal for the economy like ours. Say, for example, when we are turning almost overnight into online education system for the economy like ours. If you will talk about the IT sector, I'm not talking of the IT sectors uh, who are used to do the business for 24 into 7 hours. And there is no distinction between the day and night because many of those people are accustomed of working from the home. But when I'm talking about the technological environment, that means whether the common people, the very, you can say, the mediocre class of our community are experiencing and accessing the technological support or not, with the technological advancement we have experienced or not. Of course, we are managing this pandemic COVID situation somehow in a very crisis or critical period. That is a one thing. But another one is that if we are going to adapt with this environment, then whether we are compromising with our standard of life, with our generation creation activity, the quality of imparting information, the service we are providing to the customers, all these issues are coming into the limelight. And apart from this, other environments are also taken into consideration. That is all about the competitors or the suppliers, customers, lenders, and borrowers. These are the stakeholders. So basically, there are these four types of the risk which are affecting the uh, business enterprises in this period. First one is the strategic risk. That means the management may not have in a position to make the correct strategy or business strategy enterprise. And operational risk. So actually this operational risk generates from when the business opportunity may be threatened by environmental factor, what I have discussed earlier. So financial reporting risk is the another risk which can hamper your business prosperity or the business sustainability, because the financial information supplied in your annual accounts may contain some we cannot say that it is always intentional, but it can contain intentional as well as unintentional misstatement, and which is generating the great financial reporting risk, because the users of the financial information will be simply flying away therefrom. And compliance risk, as I was talking about the regulatory environment, so therefrom what happened, management did not comply with the required regulatory reporting. So actually we are observing here from that the business pattern in 21st century has totally changed, right? So a revolution has been brought by the internet and www, that is the world wide web, in the second half of the last century only. Now one can buy and sell across the globe at any time. But you see, this pandemic COVID-19 has shown very directly that online services, you cannot use the Amazon during the March or April. What we observe that all the racks in the Snapdeal, as in Amazons or so many other online companies, it has been emptied. No bookings were taken. So the workforce became 24-hour workforce, as I was talking about the 24 into 7 hour workforce, and it created a new type of business which was not possible earlier, right? So cloud technology is also very very important. One aspect what I must name, and say for example the specialized services, remote learning center, e-health, particularly when we are looking for the community health during the community transmission of the COVID-19 disease. So what happened, the e-health, remote medical consultants, all these are coming through the cloud technology only. And big data is also very very important issue to take into consider. Why? Because the social websites produce almost, you can say, trillions of bytes data on daily basis, may it be the Facebook, may it be the Twitter, may it be the other social sites. But how these data are being used, just I am citing a one example. Suppose your friend is saying or just posting a post for the congratulating your friends, right? So I am congratulating my friends for his marriage anniversary, and immediately we find that the required gift, what I would be presenting to my friend or even the married couple, it is popping out on the computer screen or mobile screen of that. So this is the how big data are being used by the different companies. So big data is really very very interesting part. So now under all these technological environment and with our economic state, what I have discussed, we need to or focus on the business sustainability or the business opportunities. Then only we can think of the resilience. Now, so transform these risks, what I was talking about, into a business opportunity. Now, it is a big question. Can a risk be transformed into an opportunity? Here lies the challenge, right? Almost it is a case of you are to bring water from the stone, which is next to impossible. But again, I am telling you that here lies the challenge and opportunity vis-a-vis. A huge, just I'm citing the one example to make my point lucid. Huge amount of revenue growth has been experienced in the Indian IT sector, right? My earlier speaker, Dr. Manomita Nandi, was also talking about. So artificial intelligence will come into the front line of the business. In the very near future, you will be observing that everything will be automated. And so automation industry is going to have experienced the boom situation. Emphasis employee safety. Now, if we will not, as I was talking about the MSME industry, you see where we observe almost 70%, two-third employees were not paid or underpaid. In that case, if we can show our sympathy to the employee and we can just simply consider or pay more emphasis on the employee safety, then what will happen? They will know that they are safe and they will also operating, and our organization will ultimately be in a safe situation. So business continuity plan is the responsibility of not only the managers, or you can say the executive class of the people. Rather, these executive class of peoples should also take help from all the employee serving within the organization. It should be the responsibility beginning from the bottom level to the top level employee serving within the organization. Tech infrastructure. Now, so what happened? The outlay on disaster recovery infrastructure is the another important issue. As a business enterprise, how much amount you are going to spend or outlay on disaster recovery infrastructure, whether if you will be in a critical or crisis situation, then you will overcome therefrom or not, right? So remote connectivity tool, secure network will be core competency in days to come. So when we are talking about the business opportunity, you see not only the disaster recovery infrastructure, rather the remote connectivity to whether we are in a position to connect with the remote rural area of my country or my state or not, whether we do have a consistent and uninterrupted supply of the network or not, a culture of continuous investment in risk management. And we will have to take the risk. If we will be risk averse, then of course we won't be in a position to think of the business opportunity in the critical phase or the critical period. So business process will become more digital than the phygital. Now I am using the word phygital. Why? Because it is a physical and culmination of the digital. So now we are going to experience purely on the digital basis. Even we are just teaching digitally. We are curing patient from my own clinic to the patient's house digitally. So everywhere the digital uh, affair is going to be involved. The manufacturing sector will see the age of automation, as I was talking about. And so the risk management and business continuity plan have become critical to organizational resilience. Because the risk management, if you fail to manage all those risks, what I was talking all about, and the business continuity plan will not be in accordance with that risk, then of course the organization will be in a criticality in order to gain that resilience. So I would like to conclude, I won't take much time. So remaining market in the next normal will not be like our traditional normal. My dear friend, you must not forget that I was talking about that during next 6 months, people are estimating that we will overcome with this pandemic COVID-19. But I have every doubt whether we will overcome within next 6 months or not. Of course, it will reopen lockdown and unlockdown will be there. All the phases are going on. You see how we are experiencing the unlocking of our economy, and then again on a routine basis, 2 days in a week, or say for example thrice in a week, we have already very recently experienced the closure of our banking companies for 2 day in a week, right? So in this way, in last month, we were having the only 14 or 15 banking days or like that. So our financial sector is going to be affected. And it is this, I mean, talking about the pandemic COVID, is going to sustain, if it is going to sustain for 3 to 4 years, in that case, how our this normal would be the normal. So our new normal will be the very different from that. And in that direction, we will have to be prepared, and accordingly, we will have to think for our economic development also. So customer care sustainability is the, I think, another point what should be taken into consideration. If you can sustain with your customer, you see, we all know in the marketing management only two tasks is there. Either to sustain with, that means just you maintain your current client base, as well as you add the new client. These two tasks are there. So if our customer are going to be sustained, of course our business will sustain. And future of mobility in India is going to be considered in this outlook only. In every sector, we going to see the corporatization. But again, please, you don't mind. I don't know how many of you will be agree with me or not, as because it is a debatable issue. We are going to experience in every sector corporatization, merger, acquisition, right? But I personally don't find this corporatization anything is different from the privatization, right? So you see, when the rest of the globes are following the, you can say the uh, nationalization or centralization of the uh, government plans, policies, program, etc. But in our country, we are going to experience the privatization in the name of corporatization. Even if you can raise the issue of the banking sector, in a very near future, we are going to experience only four public sector banks. You all know about the Manthan, you all know about the Indradhanush, wherein the seventh policy has been um, adopted by the our finance ministry. I'm not going into all those details because it will be just simply encroaching of our time. 8:30 was the only. So just I wish to conclude by saying this, that the last 30 years we have practiced the globalization. Last 30 years since 1990 and onwards. And globalization means what? Globalization means simply vocal for global. And suddenly overnight, we are screaming that no, we will have to have vocal for local. It is not that much easier task. It would not be the very easier task for the economy like ours, because immediately after experiencing the 30 years vocal for global, and overnight you are just simply screaming vocal for local, particularly when your MSME sector is not performing at par. So Make in India's project, you all know better than me that what is the current status of that. Because since 2014 onwards, almost 6 years have been passed. What is the current status of the Make in India? That is also questionable. Boost the MSME sector is the another issue, but can contribute substantially in the economic growth during post-COVID period in our Indian economy. So regain the confidence of the unorganized migrant laborers and the common people is the very, very important aspect of sustainable business growth and resilience of Indian economy. Otherwise, if the migrant labor and the common people's confidence will not be regained, it is going to affect your economy adversely. Regulatory risk be maintained at a moderate level. May it be the RBI, may it be the SEBI, may it be the PFRDI, or IFTA, whatever it may be. Everywhere we are observing that the risks are always there. SEBI is coming with the new norm of the regulations. RBI is also saying that our economy is not in a, we should prepare in a good state, and that means we should prepare for the negative growth rate, etc. So effective measure for the agriculture sector and unorganized sector are essential, and it is the call for the uh, current period. A sustainable business environment must be ensured in our economy to experience the sustainable business prospect and growth. Then only our business can be sustained. What happened? So with this, I wish to conclude, and I have taken almost 3, 4, or 5 minutes more than my allotted time. So I convey my heartfelt thanks to the viewer. I still observing that it is 152 viewers are attached with us, and I convey my sincere and heartfelt thanks to the organizer to just make an opportunity to speak before such a learned audience. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for sharing your extensive analysis, extensive knowledge, and extensive views. The lecture was very much insightful and thought-provoking. You have touched many things to discuss the variability of fiscal and monetary variables due to pandemic. You throw the extensive light on the MSME sectors. You analyze the different worst hit sectors like tourism industry, manufacturing sector, gems and jewelry sectors with highly informative statistics. You have also shown us a ray of hope also. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We are very much elated to hearing you. Sir, we are now end of the technical session, and I like to move on to the question answer session. Sir, are you ready to take questions?
Yes, please.
The first question from Sharad Prasad. The relevant measures taken by the government of India during COVID-19 pandemic for Indian economy, whether it is more than enough for enhancing GDP growth?
It is a very straight question. You see, GDP growth rate comes where from? If the different manufacturing and service sector, apart from the other sectors, will moves on, then only we can experience the GDP growth rate. As I have quoted the RBI, even RBI says that in one of its report that we should be ready for the negative growth rate, right? So you see that what the measures have been undertaken by the government of India or union government or the finance, we have witnessed the 20. Actually, I very intentionally dropped that particular issue, and I have taken there from only 3 lakh crores rupees financial package made available to the MSME sector, and even it has not been fully used very extensively. Basically, we are under trap of the pandemic. Apart from this, whatever 20 lakh crores rupees financial package have been made available to the economy at large. But you see, even this economy at large, it fails to revive our economic growth rate. If you will think in this way, suppose these 20 lakh crores of rupees financial package would not have been made available, and it had been made available. What is the basic difference in or the impact on the GDP growth rate? Then you will automatically get the answer of your question. I'm not going to make a direct comment on that. And you see the willful defaulters. RBI is saying that in the very next, at the end of March 21, we are going to experience the 50% of the NPA. We have already learned that the huge amount of the NPA has been written off, and now our economy has been cleansed. Books of accounts are going to be the very transparent, clear. But still, the same issues is going. Gem and jewelry instance, you all know. So, what the measures are going to be taken by our policymaker of the union government, and how it is going to be experienced, it can be reflected from the expert comment from the economist, say for example the Niti Aayog chairman, say for example the finance secretary, say for example the advisor to the economic advisor to the prime minister, etc. So I'm not going to make on very direct that whether it is going to affect the positive or not. But of course, academically, we can observe that once the amount is going to be spent on the infrastructural development of the country, then it is going to positively affect the GDP growth rate. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question from Professor Sujatra Bhattacharya. The government has announced a slew of measures to make fund available to MSMEs under the Atmanirbhar Bharat package. But the banks are reluctant to lend to the small startups and MSMEs. Sluggish demand and unavailability of workers have proved to be the two-edged sword, bringing the survival of the MSMEs at a stake. How do these MSMEs can bounce back in this situation?
Exactly, Sujatruda, you are also here. Really, I'm and thank you. Actually, what happened? Your question is very, very pertinent. That is why I have accommodated the MSME part only. Government is, of course, willing to lend a huge amount as a concessional interest rate to the MSME sector, but banks are reluctant, and bank has to be ultimately bank will have our fund. Once the RBI is alarming, RBI is estimating that the NPA growth rate is going to be the very, very at higher level. So what will the bank do? Bank financial positions are also not in a very good state, that you know better than me. So basically, under the circumstances, how this MSME is going to experience the revival? Really, it is very, very tough some situation. Basically, as I was talking about, you have experienced for prolonged 30 years, that is the vocal for global, and overnight it cannot be. Again, it will take some time. Of course, our economy is experiencing Atmanirbhar will, you see, our economy cannot transform into a Atmanirbhar, self-reliant economy overnight. It will take some have to take care of. Actually, I don't want to go into that much detail. Question is really very, very interesting to answer on that, and huge amount or huge sort of information can be shared with this particular context. But unless otherwise, the manufacturing sector is going to be the very, very strong, and the MSME sector is going to be the uh, regain the earlier position. I don't think that this particular program is going to be very, very successful in the present pandemic economic situation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question from Dr. Manik Sannal of our college. Do you agree that GOI should relook to GST mobile sectors so that demand increases? More money can be in hands of the consumers? Sir?
Yeah, yes, I am getting that. Actually, you see, as you are talking about the last part, what he was talking about the real estate sector. What was the actually question about the real estate sector?
Do you agree that GOI should relook?
GST part I understood. GST part I understood. Thereafter,
For real estate automobile sector so that demand increases. More money can be in the hands of the consumers.
yes. One example I am just citing to you. The purchasing power should be released into the hand of the common people. How you are releasing it, that doesn't matter. If the liquidity will be released into the hand of the common consumer, then of course it will the demand of that particular product will impact positively. Why we are facing the recession in the, as you have raised in your particular question or remark, to say the real estate industry or the automobile industry or other industry. The reason is that the consumer are not having the sufficient fund. They do not have the job security for the period. People are smart enough. People are having the access of the current news um, roaming within the globe, right? So once you know that this pandemic effect is going to sustain for next 3-4 years, then will you like to spend rampantly? Will you like to buy a new car despite the fact you are having a 2-3 lakh cash balance in your hand? No. Why? Because you never know that how long your this supply of liquid fund into your account will persist. So this is the very, very important issue. And this liquidity will, of course, uh, help the sector, whatever it may be, the real estate sector or the automobile sector. But if it would have been the situation, then I am just citing the example again from the media report that many of the Maruti companies executives are vending the green vegetables door to door during this pandemic situation. Because I have an experience of working in a project on that. So there I experienced this. So the liquidity is of course important. If the rampant amount of liquid fund is in the hands of the consumer, effectively, but question is that will the consumer provide that liquid fund to the consumer or not? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The last question from Ratish Kumar Jha. Sir, as you know, and you mentioned it as well, that MSMEs are the backbone of Indian economy and they have suffered and still suffering because of this pandemic. The central government is trying to protect them by taking various measures. But what about the small business like vegetable vendors, hawkers, etc.? They are still suffering due to frequent lockdowns. Do you think the central government is doing enough for them or the society should also come up for them?
Uh, thank you, Ratish, for raising the very pertinent dimension of today's policy making of our union government. You have rightly said that MSME sector is not going to be operational at 100% as it was in prior to the pandemic situation. But what I want to say that once the MSME sector is operating on, say, for example, 50% only, then the rest of the enterprises, business enterprises, which are not operating, they can simply transform. Say, for example, many of the companies are preparing the PPE kit, then the mask, then the soap, hand sanitizer, etc., etc., or health and personal hygienic products, and they are supplying it at a very cheap level. So what happened? These MSME sectors are diverting their uh, inherent, their inherent expertise into the need base of the society. So, what is the need of the society? What type of the products are being demanded within the community? And as per that, if we are capable enough to project. But herein again, these newly shifted or the newly redirected business enterprises are lacking the liquid finance because once they are approaching the financial institution or the any mahajan, you can say informally, then they are not getting the sufficient fund. They have to rotate their finance capital and they are to wait till the money is being again rotated into the liquid fund to buy the raw material or like that. So actually this vegetable or and this is the another reason why I have covered the unorganized sector revival. If the unorganized sector and you say you are talking about the vegetable supplier etc. Now all these are coming within the unorganized sector. If you will take care of these population, automatically our MSME sector will revive. Thank you, Rakesh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. As we are running short of time, I have to end up the question answer session. We cannot entertain all the questions. Excuse us. Now we are end of our question answer session. I would like to hand over the platform to Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Srivastav for casting vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir. You are audible.
A very good evening to all. Being the joint convener of this webinar, this is my privilege to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. I would like to thank our chief patron and administrator of our college, Dr. Aparna Chakraborty Madam, for sparing her precious time and honoring the webinar with her inspirational thoughts. My heartfelt thanks goes to our principal, Dr. Parthu Pratim Dasgupta, for motivating and inspiring us every step. I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks to our IQAC convener and our departmental head, Professor Ranjit Kumar Bose, whose ethical values, hard work, and dedication inspired us a lot. My sincere thanks to the panelists for their contribution and time. I am grateful to Dr. Monomita Nandi, reader, Brunel University, London, for her excellent deliberation on the topic. I also wish to express my gratitude to Dr. Ram Prahlad Chaudhary, Professor, Calcutta University, for making an excellent presentation and making the webinar interesting and meaningful. I would also like to thank our office staff members for making this function a grand success. I would be failing in my duty if I do not thank our young, energetic, and dedicated joint conveners, Dr. Barnali Basu Banerjee and Professor Sucharita Bhattacharya, for their tireless efforts to make this webinar a grand success, and who never let us down and always prove that our institution is the best. I would also convey my thanks to our departmental colleague, Professor Mizarul Islam, for his technical assistance. Finally, my sincere thanks to the participants for showing the interest to participate in the webinar and also for their patience hearing. I'm also announcing the closing of this webinar. Thanks a lot. Stay safe and good night.
RP sir, thank you. Thank you, RP sir. Excellent presentation.
He has left the webinar, perhaps.
RP sir, are you here?
Probably.
Yeah, I am very much here.
Yes.
Sir, excellent presentation, excellent statistics, highly informative lecture. We are very much enriched. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all the
Sir.
organizer and a huge audience
Sir.
base. Thank you. Yes.
Sir, we are honored. Sir, many more questions are there, and chat box are flooded with compliments. Your lecture,
Thank you.
excellent
Credit
lecture.
goes to you all. Credit goes to you, organizer, as well as a very learned audience base.
No, sir. It's your goodness.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, Sucharita, have you shared the back link?
Yes. Feedback link is shared in the chat box.
Yes.
স্যার আবার আপনাকে পাবো আমরা পরের ওয়েবিনার গুলোতে যেন আপনাকে পাই আমরা রাম স্যারকে বলছি
It will be